Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Hey, one of the questions I get most frequently is about the Amber skill for the Poison Lizard Advanced Infection, and basically, is it worth it? All right, just to remind you, the Poison Lizard, its talent skill gives you a 12% chance to inflict poison on the enemy, basically a dot that does damage every second for 3 seconds. 12% isn't very high, but you can get the Amber skill Advanced Infection, which will increase your proc chance. You can see here it's an Amber skill, so it's obviously only going to be 3 stars. That's 2%, but that's not taking into account the luck on your pet. You can get to an additional 6%, so you can get all the way up to 18% proc chance. Is that worth it? Normally, you'd think, hey, going from 12% to 18%, that seems pretty good, but there's an issue. The talent skill infection, it can only proc once every second. That's once every turn. You might be like, okay, once a turn, that's good. But here's the issue, right? How does your tank play in a battlefield? Typically, in an open field battle, your tank's going to be hit by a lot of legions simultaneously, and I find most of the time when my legions get hit by 6, 8, 10 legions, whatever, I'm going to proc infection anyway, so the additional 6% or whatever I would get would be wasted. And so typically I advise people, hey, don't get advanced infection. It's probably not worth the amber. Now, in a one-on-one fight, it's great, but how often do you do a one-on-one fight with infantry? Well, you do it in the Rally Garrison meta, but the Venom Lizard really isn't the pet of choice for the Rally Garrison meta. So, other than that, you don't see a lot of one-on-one fights with infantry, so I don't think it's worth the Amber skill. But recently I've been hearing, hey, even though that talent skill says it can only proc once a second, some people have been telling me that they've heard rumors that it can proc more than once a second. Well, I looked into it a long time ago. Obviously the talent skill says it's limited to once per second, but sometimes bugs creep into the game, or sometimes they change the code and don't update the tooltip description. So I'm prepared to believe that this has changed, that you could proc it more than once a second, in which case advanced infection would be very good. So how do you test that? Well, you throw your march into some sort of fight where it's getting hit a lot by multiple enemies simultaneously, and you look through the battle logs. Now, I've done that with my Gorsh Skogul, and you can see here it was fighting a bunch of different Darklings simultaneously. Remember, there's no range limitation on the Poison Lizard. That's why it's better than the Bruin Bear for ranged fights for open fielding. And, what did I do? I went through the battle log. These are very long turns. There's no easy way to sort it. And, but I did it for you guys. I looked through it, and I could find no instance where my Poison Lizard triggered more than once a turn. Okay, so that's great. What a great video here. I'm showing you some battle logs. How does that work? Well, I figured I'd show you a visual representation of the Poison Lizard in battle. A whole bunch of different Darklings here. Looks like about 10 of them. They're all going to be hitting my march simultaneously. And what you're looking for is red damage. Now, I can't send Gorsh Skogul in because they do skill damage. That's red damage that would proc as well. And the pet I showed you before, their pet, it also has the Advanced Counter-Strike skill. And the Advanced Counter-Strike skill is also red damage. So that's another thing that would be visually distracting. So what I did is I sent Garwood Thea in. Neither of them do any skill damage. And here's the Poison Lizard they're using. It has Counter-Strike on there, but remember, Counter-Strike counts as a Legion attack. So that's not going to give you any red damage. So the only red damage you're going to see is from Infection. Now remember, Infection puts a dot on your target that lasts 3 seconds. So if it procs 3 consecutive turns on 3 different enemies, you could see up to 3 red numbers simultaneously on the screen. Any more than that is an indication that it can proc more than once a turn. But for the duration of this battle, and this battle will go on for a little while, if you never see more than 3 red dots in a single turn, that's a pretty good indication that that this is still true. It can only trigger once a second. Alright, and running away just before I get sad-faced. I watched that entire combat. I didn't see any indication that it procced any more than once per turn. And then when I went back and checked the logs later on, I couldn't find any indication there either. It's tough to prove a negative. Have you ever read Ulysses? If you haven't, prove it, right? But I couldn't find no indication. I think the tooltip's still correct. I think the Poison Lizard can only proc once per second, which means I don't think Advanced Infection is worth the M. Hey, that's it. Now I feature a number of Warpet themed series on this channel, and I'm always looking for more Warpets to feature. Now this could be a pet you're struggling with, and you'd like in-depth advice on how to build it out, or it could be a super strong pet, and you'd like to see it featured in the Doom Pet series. I try to help anyone who needs it with any Warpet related issues. So if you do send something in, please let me know whether you're interested in being featured in one of my videos, or if you're just looking for some quick advice. I'm happy to help either way. I also try to address more general, pet-related questions the community might have. If you have any of those, please let me know in the comments below. I want to thank everyone for stopping by and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this content or found it helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. And until next time, stay classy, Belleron.